Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. Well, we're on the final one of the series I've been doing where I attempt to name the best player in each franchise's history, their all-time GOAT. I've been doing them in alphabetical order. This is the 32nd and final NFL team, that being the Washington Commanders. Now, the Washington Commanders franchise has been around since 1932, that inaugural season were the Boston Braves. Then for 4 seasons, the Boston Redskins. From 1937 until 2019, the Washington Redskins. 2020 and 2021, the Washington football team. And since 2022, have been known as the Washington Commanders. Altogether, 93 seasons of NFL action. Now, 2 off seasons ago, I did my NFL Mount Rushmores by team, 4 best players in each team's history in my eyes. Last off season, I did my NFL Mount Rushmores by position, 4 best players each position in NFL history. So before I name the GOAT with each of these videos, I've been revisiting the Mount Rushmore, seeing if maybe I would make a few changes. Now, this one I remember being very difficult. There's a couple guys that I had a tough time deciding whether they belonged on or off, but I'll keep it the way it is, and I'll name them in alphabetical order, starting with Sammy Baugh, part of the inaugural Hall of Fame class of 1963. Then we have Darrell Green. Man, did he seemingly play forever. 20 seasons, one of the fastest players in NFL history. Chris Hanburger, 9-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All Pro at linebacker, and Charlie Taylor, Hall of Fame class in 1984, 8-time Pro Bowler, 9,110 receiving yards for his career. Again, some tough guys to leave off. Art Monk was definitely one that was difficult to leave off. He's an honorable mention, as well as Mark Mosley, Dexter Manley, Sean Taylor, Russ Grimm, Joe Theismann, Sonny Jurgensen, John Riggins, another very tough guy for me to leave off, Gary Clark, just to name a few. But in the end, who do I consider to be the best player in Washington Commanders history? I'm going to go way back and go with Sammy Baugh. Now, Baugh was selected with the 6th overall pick in the 1937 NFL Draft. He went on to play 16 seasons, all with the Redskins. So, historic career, as I mentioned, part of the Hall of Fame's inaugural class, part of the Hall of Fame All 1940s team, 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team All Pro. Let's take a look at his season by season stats via his Pro Football Reference. Now, this just shows his quarterbacking stats, but as I'm going to tell you guys, he did a lot more than quarterback. Of course, a way different era. Passing numbers, nothing like what they are today. But as you see, Baugh led the league in the major categories quite often. Altogether, 8 times led in completion percentage, 4 times passing yards, 2 times TDs, 3 times passer rating. Altogether, 56.5% completion percentage, which was outstanding for the era. 21,886 passing yards, 187 passing touchdowns. He did play in the pre-Super Bowl era, but did help guide the Redskins to NFL championships in both 1937 and 1942. As I mentioned, he did a lot more than just play quarterback, though. He also was a safety and intercepted 31 passes in his career, including leading the league with 11 in 1943. That's not it, though. He also was a punter, and he was a very good punter, to be sure. 5 times led the league in punting average. 1940, 51.4 yards per punt, 45.1 yards per punt in his 338 career punt. So Sammy Ball was outstanding, really, at three different positions. And in the end, I give him the slight nod as the best player in franchise history. Probably the toughest guy to not consider the GOAT of the franchise would be Darrell Green, who pretty much played longer than any player, anybody in the secondary ever did in NFL history. But let me know in the comments, do you agree? Is Sammy Ball the best player in franchise history, or would you give it to Darrell Green or someone else? Now, with all of these, I've been taking a look at the active roster, deciding if there's anyone on the active roster who could potentially overtake the GOAT or at least be a Mount Rushmore guy, an honorable mention. We know the Commanders haven't been very good of late, only finished 4-13 last year, so probably not. I mean, Terry McLaurin has had, I believe, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, but he's still got a bit to go to overtake Taylor and Monk as the franchise's best wide receiver. Otherwise, they traded Montez Sweat, who made the Pro Bowl. Uh, Again, really not anyone who I could foresee making the Mount Rushmore once their career is over. But anywho, this series is now over. I've done all 32 teams. Who is the GOAT of the franchise? You could check them out. They're all in a playlist, as are my Mount Rushmores, not just for NFL, but MLB, NBA, and NHL as well. Probably going to do this for those other sports I just mentioned during those sports off seasons. So stay tuned for that. This was a lot of fun. Some teams were challenging. Some, like New England, of course, were common sense. But anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.